So you got the J7, we got some HoodRat SnapWrap. Because the J7 has this slot running through it, it gives us a few opportunities that we don't normally have. There's some handles that'll have holes every so often that are big enough that you can weave this through. There's some scalpenized handles on certain knives. So we're just going to go through and look at how to do this. So you need to have this slot or large holes in order to be able to do what we refer to as a serpentine wrap or a butterfly wrap, or call it whatever you want. We're going to go through and we're going to anchor it in that slot. Okay, we're going to wrap over it and tension it the way that we have previously. Okay, and I want to go through and make sure that that's good and secure. I've taken this other end and I've cut it at an angle to make it easier to feed it through. Okay, once I've fed it through, I'm then going to tension this here with my thumb, tack it with my other thumb, and then pull downwards to set it. Okay? I then go through and I take this free end, I feed it through again, taking out most of the slack, and then going to tension it once I have it where I want it. I tack it down, and I pull it through. Then I tack this with my finger, take this end, and I feed it through. Now the reason that we want to go through and do it this way, where we take the slack out, get it to where we want it, and then tension it, is so we don't prematurely wear the snap wrap. Because it's rubber, it doesn't handle sharp corners well. So we go through, we get it tagged, we tack it down with our finger. It's nice and tight, we've pulled down. I take this and I feed it back through. I go through, bring this around, I take the tension out, I tack with my thumb, I pull down, do that again. We just continue this process. Now, how much overlap that you have is kind of a choose your own adventure. It'll depend on how much bulk you want. Tag that, feed it through, bring this around. Ensure we have adequate tension. This is a little bit tedious, but not really high skill. It's pretty easy to do. I think that it's got a cleaner look than the Ninja Ridges. Now, if you're a Ruelas or some of these guys that are really good at wrapping paracord handles, you'll be able to come up with some pretty intricate patterns using the snap wrap. Give it a real neat look. You get the benefits of the paracord style handles, the fanciness with the rubber texture, which will really take it to the next level. There's a few knife makers out there that are starting to offer the snap wrap as an upgrade, and especially now that we have olive as well as coyote, it goes really nice with the black. You get some really nice looking combinations. So once you get going on it, it's not that bad. Again, tack it down, feed it through, pull it tight. We're always pulling it down, so we're forcing this to bite on itself. That way it doesn't really just unravel on us. Tack in, bring this around. Going through and cutting that tip at an angle makes a huge, huge difference. Take this, bring it around. Okay, so if you wind up getting a little bit of a gap there, no worries, we just go through and retension it. tension it down, bring it over, feed it through. So now we're starting to get, we're running out of a little bit of real estate in that slot. So we really want to make sure that we're getting extra tension here. Now the reason is we want to go through and squeeze it and thin it out and take it down, because as it goes through and removes a bit of the tension, which will naturally happen, the rubber will bite on itself, and that's how we're going to terminate this. So one of the neat things about the SnapWrap is you don't need to mess around with a bunch of resins and things like that, trying to get it to set and stay in place. You don't need to melt it and go through and literally just get it to bite on itself. Just using this little hole. So if we don't have the tension set properly, it won't bite. So we want to go through and pull it down on itself each time, especially near the end. So I'm really starting to leverage this. I tack that with my finger, squeeze it through, pull this around, really cinch this down, because as I'm sure you already know, rubber gets narrower and thinner when you go through and stretch it. It's a material thing, right? There's only so much material there. So we go through. I can get one more in there, so I'm going to pull this down really, really tight. I'm going to feed this around. I'm going to pinch. So the one thing about this style of wrap is it is not as easy to go through and take it off. Okay, so we have that set up. Here we are. Go through and just trim this with a little piece of scissors or something like that after. You have kind of a really neat look. And as you can see, it just kind of sticks on itself. We go through and because it's overlapped, we can go through and we can push this up now. Then you just have that so it's there. We just grab a small piece of scissors to trim off the excess. Very carefully, making sure you don't nick the rest of the rubber. There you go.